So we're gonna talk about something local, and it's our guest of honor,
Like to
director
think myself to be
extraordinaire.
All right, people, I want you to know something. She's going to act really humble, so I'll be the one to
Jesus, stop it.
big her
You
up. I'll be
always
the one to big her
are.
up, and she needs to stop tapping with her knee. Right? Natasha has won awards. Natasha has won awards for costuming. She's actress as well. She's you do everything in a film.
Oh yeah.
You're the film goddess.
Yeah, you definitely want to talk
All right,
about
what how about just tell us some of your achievements in the theater and the film world locally. It's the topic is something local, and tell us about the journeys. I know you're a part of the film lab with the British Council.
Wow.
I mean, come on,
Wow.
real.
I
Yo, just think of it. You know, like when you go to the strip club and you have the money. Just think of the money as all of the things you do and just go so with it. Just go so with it. Just reel them off.
yeah, that one's going to be a little difficult. But yeah. Where do I start? My first love is acting. My first love is acting. I did my first degree in acting between Edna Manley and UE. I met a remarkable bunch of people, started working with the independent actors movement, who they're still my friends today. And if they call to say, Natasha, we have a project, I'm like, get up on my eyelash.
Nice.
And through them and through projects with them, I got the opportunity to wear several hats. And one of them was costume designer for that was theater. And 1 year in a series called Untitled Chapters, they thought my costumes were like, great enough to get like an active award, and that was kind of cool. So that was kind of cool. But at the end of my studies, at the end of undergrad, I literally had in my final year actually. My final year production, I'm there watching my quote unquote directorial debut
Cool, man.
unfold on stage.
Which one? Which film
And
was that?
It wasn't a film, it was a play because that's
Okay.
where I started.
Nice.
And it's like I had one of those epiphanies, like those light bulb moments. And I'm like, yo, because at the time I was also doing a couple film courses at UE. And in that moment I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to direct movies.
All right.
And I think it's from there. That was 2007.
That's a long time ago.
It's 2007 that I decided I wanted to go into film. It took me a while to get there. And I was being PA on a bunch of projects, linking with whoever I knew was in the film industry.
And this is locally.
This
right?
is locally, definitely. Until eventually, we taught at George's. That's where we met. And
To go over quickie.
Yeah.
we were both
we were both there at the same
English
time.
teachers,
We're
and you
teaching
taught theater
English,
arts.
and I taught theater arts, but at the same time I was still doing PA, and I was still taking short courses in screenwriting. So I was really trying to get my feet wet. And then eventually I realized that teaching at the secondary level was definitely not my calling.
It's not mine either.
And so I took a leap of faith. I took a gigantuan leap of faith and decided it's time for me to go make movies. And
Sorry.
and that's how I ended up in New York at the Fierstein Graduate School of Cinema. Did 3 years there studying. Well, concentration was writing.
Okay.
Glad that I did writing because I discovered so much about the kind of stories I wanted to tell about myself as a writer. And Home Sweet Home was actually one of the short films I wrote in one of my writing classes, and decided that though I was not in the directing track, because we Jamaicans, we try to make the best of every situation, get the most out of it. I decided from early out that I was not leaving that place without shooting something I wrote.
Right, because that was done in New York.
Yes, that was done in New York. And like literally in my final semester, a couple people like a DP and a producer who liked the work said, we do it. We're willing to work with you. It's a great script. And I'm like, yes, yes, let's make a movie. And that's how I ended up making Home Sweet Home. We had other challenges like finding like Brooklyn is a diverse place,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And you think it's easy to find great Jamaican talent.
Yeah.
Bella.
Same.
So you know Bella Issa. Bella
Yes,
Issa.
I actually watched that podcast.
But we cuss her and we say, yo, you need to go in with a chubby white girl with a shirt that say green card.
No,
That's how you find
no,
them.
no. All you're
That's
going
my
to get.
that in New York
Oh,
still.
how you're going?
You
All
get
you're
these
going to
untalented
get.
ones.
You're going to get yeah man.
So all right, so you're saying that maybe that acting pool wasn't as deep as you wanted it to be.
It definitely wasn't. I found that a lot of the Jamaican talent there, they're very skilled in theater. They'll kill a stage performance, but
So-
they don't have the skill set for film, which is a very different.
I want to
skill set.
kind of segue into the film a little because
Oh,
you gave us
okay.
you gave us the opportunity to watch the film, the Chat Bout Flim team. So it's funny you said that because one of the issues I loved the content, I loved the tight knit of the story.
Mhm.
You know, I loved the main character, the actress,
Big up
right?
Sharon. Sorry.
Right, big up
Miss
And-
Sharon.
Miss Sharon, cooler man. Also the name of the person who did Saint T Florals. Just to
Mhm.
plug. But what I didn't realize is as soon as I realized it was in New York,
Mhm.
it felt that way with some of the acting, you know. And one of the things that we talk about on Chat Bout Flim, we're a very blunt podcast, is bully beef dialogue. No, we call it because it's like a Grace bully beef commercial. It's like you eat your bully beef from morning.
Then you never know about bully me.
So what I found was I
Wow.
felt a little distracted with some of the dialogue,
Mhm.
but what I loved from the film though is there was raw emotion, and I could feel it in the writing. And I think Jamaican films tend to have all of these drug stories or the gangster story, and to just see this narrative, which is a very, very, very big narrative. The Jamaican woman who has to work as a caretaker, Jamaican woman who has to work as a helper in America. You understand? Caribbean women do a lot of ancillary work in America, and they have real issues that they're running from.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that this story captures a different Jamaican story. And you know, just as a short film, you can only pack so much and no
Into it.
more.
But I felt like you packed a lot of information in there.
It was, yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
real serious.
That's literally the word I used when I first watched it. And Simon was like, "How was it?" I'm like, "It's heavy."
Well, no, you
Yeah.
said a heavy 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like Simon said, this story is an important story because it's not the direct drugs story. It's like this adjacent story, which is also very important for Black women and what they go through at a certain stage in their life. So yeah, I liked it.
I'm glad you liked it. Glad you liked it.
Jamar, you have anything you wanted to add to that about Home Sweet Home?
What can I say? I mean, you practically summed it up perfectly because almost all Jamaicans within the middle class to lower class tier of society have a auntie, have a grandmother, have a mother. Them can relate to
To-
this film.
I said my
It's
things and
very
my barrels.
it's home to them.
Sweet home.
Yeah.
It's home to them. And the struggle is real because, like you said, enough people gonna find because them around left things where them just don't want remember none at all.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
and it also bring back to a song where Buja did though sometime back in the early 90s. Things change in a sister life art. In the fact that things always catch up back to you, no matter
Yeah.
how you try to run from yard.
Yeah.
Facts.
And
Yeah.
that reach her. You reach
Yeah.
her in a very real way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get did you write this?
Yes.
Right and direct.
Wrote and directed it.
So you had inspiration from real life, like you really knew.
I mean I can't
You know what,
say-
Sharon?
No, I don't know as in the character's backstory. Esmeralda's backstory is I didn't want to write a backstory that involved going abroad to make money. You know, because that's usually the push factor or the pull factor. I wanted it to be something that's different. Like, what are the other reasons that we leave home? And it's not always because we want something, we want greener pastures.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like he said, we're kind of running from other things. We're running from demons in our closets. And so that part of it was kind of, I took a lot of creative license there. I do know Jamaicans there. I do know Caribbean women there who are health workers.
Mm.
And so that character isn't totally foreign to me. That
Right.
specific story though is definitely fictional.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how I wrote the story, because when I started, I was writing, everything I was writing was set in Jamaica. Everything, because I was like, yep, I'm Jamaican, this is all I'm meant to write. And then because I said to myself, I had to think, I had to challenge myself to write a story that felt truly Jamaican, but it was set in the US. And so
Yeah.
that was, this is the result, that was the result of that challenge I gave myself. How do I write something that's authentically Jamaican, that's authentically Caribbean, but is set in the middle of New York, Brooklyn? Yeah.
Yeah, good job. And congrats.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
You had something you wanted to
I
add?
was just gonna ask, have you entered it into any
Oh,
festivals, or
yes.
have
It's a
you
very
won-
good question.
Have you
Yeah.
won something and you're not telling us?
Right,
Oh
right?
my gosh. Woo. Chill, my heart. Actually, we got into the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival last year.
Okay.
We also got into Gat Fest last
Oh,
year.
that's a local one.
Local, yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Gat Fest is local.
Big up
I'm not-
Jafta.
Big up Jafta always. Not
All right, no, that's
It's
Yui.
not
That's Yui.
Jafta.
That's Yui.
Yeah.
Yeah, big up Yui as well.
I mean, all them.
all of them.
Big up
Ah, la, la, la.
everybody. Yeah, so those are the two festivals that we ended last year. And the reviews were good. People received it well. The
Nice.
actress Sharon also did a screening for her fans, which was, it was amazing. The turnout was remarkable, and there was an
Nice.
outpour, and I'm like, whoa. And people are reading into things. I'm like, whoa, really? You saw that? Damn.
Yo,
Layers on
what's
top of layers. like-
what's really funny about things like reception of art? I remember I wrote a poem that was, in my opinion, a very simple poem, and I read it, and then after somebody was like, "Yes, what I really like is how you juxtapose this and that and the depth," and I was like,
I guess
uh-huh.
I did.
But no. I said, yeah. And then from then, I just take what them said and tell people. I was like, yeah, the poem is a juxtaposition of.
I think sometimes we do it subconsciously.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I want to believe I do it.
Sure,
sometimes.
that's part of what I tell them too. No, but that's
Yeah.
nice. One more thing I would like you to talk about yourself is the British Council film. What is the
Oh.
proper title?
It is the British Council JAFTA Jam Pro Feature Film Lab.
Right, so
So,
the British Council,
the
JAFTA, and Jam Pro.
Okay.
And I feel like these are three people that are working hard to help film in Jamaica.
Very, very
Yeah.
hard. They're doing a lot. There are a lot of initiatives that they have going.
Mhm. So tell me about yours.
But how I got there? So I returned in 2019, I think.
Okay.
And I actually submitted for the lab before I came back.
Okay.
And they said, "Oh, we like this.
You knew you
know-"
were done with up this. It's like,
It's like I
peace.
had to be no man. I had to be very intentional about my return, because I was coming back. Having left as a teacher, I was coming back as a filmmaker, and I
Mhm.
had to be very intentional about what steps I was
You
taking.
need
and
a
how-
job.
and not even a job, but
I
how
need
was
to
I
work.
going to break into the industry
Sure.
here that I went abroad to, be
Yeah.
a part of. And so that my submitting to that lab was an effort to not necessarily have to start all the way from the bottom.
Mhm.
Right.
And thankfully I got in with a feature of mine called Lukewarm.
Mhm.
And
You
it's
never saw with that?
oh yeah, Lukewarm.
Who could have watched it too?
We have time for watch movie and chat about film.
It's a script. It's not yet made.
Oh, okay.
It's a feature.
Ah, okay.
It's a feature film. The lab has been great. They've brought on some really, really good talent to kind of coach us through the entire process, the writing process. And we're doing marketing and sales and all that thing, because they want you to have a very wholesome understanding of what the business is. you
Okay,
know,
nice.
and how to take it from script to screen, because you should know that it is tough to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I
really
mean,
tough to
I
do
went
that.
on the money at Jamaica too, so
And we don't
you
have
know.
the
And
money.
I also wanted to ask you, so for this film, you said it was like a student, you were a student when you did this film. How did you get funding, or how did you get it off the ground?
You see, that's why I said I had to do it before I left school,
Uh-huh.
because then I didn't have to pay for equipment.
Okay.
I did. So I was very fortunate in that one, as a writer, I couldn't rent out equipment. So I was fortunate in that my DP Antonia wanted to do the thing, and she just went to the department, and she got all the equipment we needed, so we didn't have to rent anything. And then where I was living at the time with an amazing couple who I love dearly and call them mom and pops to this day, they said, "Oh, you could use our house." I'm like, "What? Okay, great." And then my church said, "Oh yeah, sure, you can use this." And I'm like, "Thank you, Jesus." So we didn't have to pay for all of the major things. I think out of pocket, $1,500 was made.
US, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Grand hard for come by, you know.
That's,
Yeah.
so that's how that film got made. But got a lot of favors and a lot of people who believed that it was something worth, sharing with the world in that way.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
That's
well,
awesome.
Yeah, we can wrap up this first
Segment.
No problem.
So,
okay, go ahead.
well, just before we move on to the next segment, I just want to make another plug. Firstly, ensure that you look out for the episode. It usually drops on Monday on all podcast platforms, Anchor, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all of that. Those of you who are tuned in to our IG, please jump over to our YouTube now for the live. Right? So big up. And I just want one more plug to Saint E Florals. You understand? Saint E Florals, our first sponsor. All right. So we're going to move over, and Gigi is going to announce our next segment, which is our feature topic.
Our feature topic. We're going to talk about our films now, and our topic today is favorite romantic film.
And why?
It's Valentine's.
It's Valentine's Day. Yeah, but
Like,
I mean, be corny if we have to.
It's
So,
V-Day.
favorite romance films. Let's start with one of yours. What's your first one?
Well, straight out the gate, it is Pretty Woman.
Nice, that's a good film.
Yeah,
No,
man,
Why you look at? She's like, what you going to know? What you going to know?
I'm
I
ready
know.
for
I like
you.
Pretty Woman.
I'm ready for you.
I like Pretty Woman.
Mhm.
I like Pretty Woman. I like Pretty Woman. She's not really a pretty woman to me, but I like the idea of
That's
pretty woman.
subjective.
She's all right.
She's beautiful.
Well,
Okay.
beauty is subjective. So
Yes, I
I'm
think
giving
she's
my.
beautiful. All right, go on. No,
No, but it's your movie. Go ahead. Tell me why you like Pretty Woman.
why? Okay, so outside of that, it's one of the very first romance films I watched, and I'm talking about long time ago. Like when you still put cassettes in the
Yeah,
something.
man.
Then time there, that's when I watched it. Was my first. It was the first time seeing any of that on screen, and I just fell in love with Julia's character. I fell in love with Julia's character. I fell in love with love. You know, because
Wow.
the film does that. It makes you it makes you very optimistic, and it makes you very hopeful.
Yeah.
And the characters are fun and lovable and real. Well, I think they feel very real.
Here's a question I would ask you, Pretty Woman, all the time:
Pretty
is
woman.
do you think that it translates well to today, nowadays, the premise of the movie itself?
Prostitutes and rich men, of course.
Falling in love and being together?
Well, being
Maybe
together,
not-
maybe not.
Yeah,
Staying in
yeah,
love.
yeah. And maybe
Being
not,
together.
and maybe not the pickup prostitutes, because I mean, at the end of the day, there are a lot of very sophisticated sex
Women
sellers.
who work their bodies that way.
Yeah, I like the movie. In my opinion, I don't think it ages as well as we want it to. But at the end of the day, it's entertaining, it's fun, and it does have the underline of what love should be, which is caring and sensitive. So it does
It
it.
makes your heart all warm.
It's a nice
Not
V-Day.
mine,
It's a
but-
nice
Oh,
V-Day.
sorry.
It's a nice
That's
V-Day
been-
film.
Yeah, it's one of those films that I will watch over and over and over and not get tired of it.
I will watch
Alright.
it over and over
And
too.
get tired of it?
No,
Oh.
I just no, I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
Pretty woman.
One last thing I would say about Pretty Woman too is it's an era of movies, and I think we don't make movies like that anymore. And if we look on that era and how they made those type of love stories, it's one of the best. So it's definitely to be mentioned. Jam, you have something you want to say? Go on,
Thank you.
go on, go on.
Thank you.
Go on, you.
It's alright.
We know a year time a movie there,
It's
Jam.
okay
Go on.
to like it.
It's
Pretty
okay.
Woman kinda annoys me.
Ooh.
Oh, tell
Why?
us. Tell me about it. I'm intrigued.
Gasped, shocked.
It kind of annoys me. Just how everything plays out.
Because it all
I
turns
mean-
out well for the characters.
Yeah, life no sense.
Man say where them prostitute girl you do I find love. Me no want to see no prostitute with love. Tell us why you hate them. I joke.
I don't get impressive, but I mean,
It felt unrealistic to you.
Yeah, it kind of lures you into a false reality. Like I mean, I
But,
guess
like,
that's
movies are
kind of
supposed to,
the
like,
point.
Be a
Since
fantasy.
it's
Yeah.
art,
I don't think it's supposed to be a fantasy. It's
I mean,
supposed to be
yes.
a creative reflection of reality.
There we go.
Okay.
It's that.
Well,
Very
it's,
that.
it's that. It's definitely that.
If anything,
It's definitely that.
if anything, that's a great segue to my first movie, which is Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind.
Mm.
Now, a little bit of spoiler alert, or don't spoil it. No, it's a very old movie.
It's
Yeah.
A million years
So
old.
so just a little spoiler alert. Two people who are in love but realize they can't stand each other, and they find a new technology that allows them to erase their memory. They erase each other's memory, and fate brings them back together again.
Every time.
And what
And you say,
I actually
Something
love
about
about this
realistic.
movie,
sorry.
what I actually love about this movie isn't necessarily the fate of love itself. It's not the love it of a part of it, but there is a rawness in the acting and the emotions that is put out there. And it also turned Jim Carrey into a different actor for me.
Mhm.
You know,
Excuse
excuse me.
you.
I'm used to Jim Carrey being,
Ace Ventura.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Before that, yeah.
turning around and making his butt cheek speak to a microphone.
Oh,
You know, like
That was in
really,
The
you know,
Mask.
The
That was
Mask.
the
funny.
mask. Yeah, and then when I saw that, I realized that that he had more range. You know, I don't even think I saw Truman Show yet when I saw Eternal Sunshine.
Mm.
But
Oh.
but what I also, when it comes to the idea of love, for me, love tends to be a fleeting thing. You know, like I say this all the time, when people push marriage and love, is you have to understand whether or not that person has seen love exhibited around them in that conventional sense. So that's why maybe a Pretty Woman wouldn't jump at me. But then with this now, it shows that same love is inescapable theme
Mhm.
with a lot more creativity, and it still keeps the rawness in it. So it's like it's showing the viewers, like, we're going to still show you that they hate each other, but we're going to show you that there's something about their personality that makes them magnetic.
Mhm.
And it's that makes it one of the best love movies to me. The fact that love becomes something that is magnetic, whether or not it's toxic, like we like to say nowadays.
Mm.
So that's why it's one of my favorite picks. So did you like Eternal Sunshine?
I mean, I did like it. I don't think I read as much into it as you did. I definitely don't like it as much as I like Pretty Woman. I can tell no lie. But it was definitely a very creative take on the love story. And I enjoyed the way they played with time. I enjoyed the way they played with the technology. I enjoyed the film, just not as much. I don't
Which is
remember
fine,
as
yeah.
much of it and as I did Pretty Woman.
All
So
right.
yeah, it's definitely not gonna be the one I run to on Valentine's Day.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not what you show. You don't watch. I guess this nor Malcolm and Marie. You don't watch this during Valentine's Day.
That's unless you're single.
Oh,
But, yeah.
that's so
But
sad.
it's a good. It's
You
a good
single
movie.
watching love movies on Valentine's Day?
It's a good movie, and
As
the script
many
is
of
really
you
good too.
might be. Us
I love the people do that.
Yeah.
Do. Sorry, I missed that.
watch love movies on Valentine's Day. Single
I love
people.
the single
It's. I said, I mean, if you're pursuant of a relationship, go ahead and sit down and spend your whole day, Valentine's Day, watching romantic movies, and it don't phase you. But if you're a single person in pursuit of something that's
Might be
fleeting,
torture.
it might be torture.
Might be.
Then you sit down and eat a whole tub of ice cream and drink some wine, and then you realize, oh, I'm a couple pounds heavier and I still don't have anybody. But yeah.
You can get heavier.
Oh, you don't want to
Sure.
see.
Sure.
Damn.
All right. So your next one, your second
Oh,
one.
second one is Dirty Dancing. Yes, I'm that woman.
Not Ghost.
Ghost is really good to I'm not going to
If
lie.
you're going to pick Patrick Swayze, it have to be Ghost.
No,
No.
you can't tell me what it
You're not
have
gonna
to
put baby
be.
in a corner. That's what
You
you do.
Don't put, thank you very much for that.
Exactly, girl.
Don't you go putting baby in a corner. Over and over. Not
It's just the
Patrick
pickup
Swayze.
scene, man. It's just the pickup
Oh,
scene.
It's not
no,
just
it's not. I think I really like.
to be above my head.
Yo, it's just
Oh,
the one scene, and then
Lord.
now you have overweight woman, one man pick them up,
Oh Jesus.
and we can't manage.
Oh Jesus.
Yo, I see a
crazy.
single man pick up a fat woman at a spice show.
God bless his soul.
I
He's
want
a
him to
strong
do
man.
after.
Nothing.
Nothing. He's
He
a
manages.
strong man.
What? He managed it.
He's a
Them
very
man,
good
them
man.
man, they,
Hold on, hold
it's
on.
them man they drink the juice from a sardine tin.
Hold on there. Pick her up and put her weird.
Here.
Oh, not over him head.
No,
I'm different get clawfish at that.
Oh wow.
Come again.
Anyways, back to the movie. What do you like
Yeah.
about it?
What do I like about it? I like the music. I like the dancing. I like, that's one of my favorite scenes in the film. One of, and there are many, is the scene, the pickup, yeah, but the scene where they're doing the rehearsal and they're doing the lover boy thing. A lover boy.
Oh my god, you're like the
It's-
perfect person to have on this
Oh,
day.
man.
You're the perfect person to have on this
And
day.
it's so fun, and every time I'm
You want to
watching it,
suggest it?
I'm getting up and I'm dancing, and I'm like, yeah, it's one of those feel good movies that make you hopeful, and I like hopeful movies, even if they're sad. There's some sad movies that are hopeful, but I
Alright.
really like hopeful films. But those characters who are not, you don't expect them to be where they are. Like a Patrick
You want
Swayze,
to root for them.
yeah, you want to root for those characters because he doesn't fit the mold. He doesn't. It's wrong coming out just now, but he doesn't fit the mold, and you just want him to win. You just really want him to win. You want him to get the affection of the girl. You want the daddy to like him, and you want them to get that lift.
All right. I will say though, I think the last thing I will say about it is a timeless classic. And
It is.
even if it's not my style of movie, watching it, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to pretend that. I mean,
You
I haven't
didn't.
seen it in a while, but I'm not going to pretend I didn't enjoy it at the time.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, it's cute. It does its thing.
I think that's key. If the movie achieves what it sets out to achieve, it's
Yeah.
done its
Yeah.
job. You
It's-
know?
yeah. All right. So my second movie is a lot sadder. It's the movie Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Spike Jonze, where he falls in love with Siri. I mean, that's literally what it was. He falls in love with Siri and finds out that Siri's job is to make everybody who has the iOS fall in love and feel good. And then, he eventually finds out that Siri, it's not really Siri.
It's not Siri. Yeah, do not.
Yeah, what is the
do
name?
not.
The character name?
I'll
should-
find it.
Her name is
Yeah.
Samantha.
Samantha.
Yes.
And he finds out that Samantha also is in love with 4 million other
Other
users.
people.
And he's just like, damn.
And it
Like,
breaks
why
him
not
apart.
Samantha?
However,
That's like a different kind of
what I think her tackles, two things I think her tackles that is very interesting to me is the physical ideology of love. Whether or not it is important to be around somebody, to be able to touch somebody, what is the actual emotional pull? So you're looking on people who, I remember, like, even my grandfather would tell me that when he was at war, people would get pen pals. So like random people would write letters, and then the soldier would have a person named Jheanelle, Becky, whatever, and they would just keep writing that Becky, and they would legit like fall in love with these pen pals. They would fight harder at war to go home, and there are cases where they found the pen pal and married the pen pal. So as much as we wanted to say like it was a silly, this is how millennials are going to fall in love over a text message, and it's not something that is foreign, and it attacks what is the love. What do you need for love? It's just like for him, yes, he knows that this is our iOS, but it doesn't change the fact that this iOS. I mean, there's so many ridiculous scenes, like when he's at the picnic with the phone. I don't mean to laugh at what I just built up as a theme, but it takes the ridiculous, because Spike Jonze, the director, knows these scenes are ridiculous, but it shows that there's still a baseline importance. What is love? It's one of the most unanswerable questions in history of man.
I wouldn't say it's unanswerable, but like I like what you say about what the film tackles, but it also, like, almost in a twofold way, it also for me comments on how sometimes as human beings we have a tendency to, we don't like messy. We don't like messy, and and it was easy for Joaquin's character to fall in love with this iOS because there was nothing messy about it. There was nothing. There's not a physical woman who was moody and all of this.
Right.
There's not a
She was
realness. There's a perfection to
Until it
her.
got messy.
Until it got messy.
4 million
right?
messy.
But but that's it. It's easier for us and to fall in love with clean. To fall in love with sterile, at least. No.
And to fall in love with everything that you want it to be. So I guess it also touches back into men who want the perfect women, but what do they bring to the table? I saw this I saw this clip. I can't remember the guy's name, and he does like like counseling or like gives fashion advice. And there's this one guy who's saying that why women can't approach him, and he's like asking the guy to describe himself, and he's like, "How tall are you? What's your bank account like? Do you have a big dick? And it's like, and the guy's just giving all the wrong answers, and he's just like, you bring nothing.
Whoa.
Why should women approach you? But then it goes into that these same people want that perfect woman to love them, and Samantha became the perfect woman. She was just a voice, and she became anything he wanted to imagine her as, and he fell head over, and and it was just an app. It was just Alexa, Siri.
It was just
had a
something
child.
that was programmed to make him feel good.
And that's what makes it one of the best love movies, because it's not necessarily about romance in the traditional sense. It's about the idea of love and what people want out of romance. So that's why it's my second pick.
I actually have something to say about what you said about the pen pal situation. I was listening to a podcast about men that been to war and they had pen pals, and this guy wanted to try and find this girl that he's been penning this whole time, and he found out that it was actually a business that a man run
To the pen pals, right?
to the pen pals,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're
yeah.
like
Like a
but they're-
catfish business.
yeah, but they're like all guys
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, I think if I was at war, I would want to hear this, and
No, but
they
isn't
were.
that how Russia won the election?
I don't know. I don't
Isn't
know.
that the rumor that there's that in Russia there's just a room full of people that's just typing up Twitter accounts, pretending to be other people?
Cool, I don't know.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a rumor that these businesses exist. That there's just a room full of men who are, and they have, and each person has like 20 accounts to the name.
Exactly. Yeah.
You understand?
So like one little old man was writing 20 different people.
Yeah.
at
So
war.
people are falling in love with that old man.
Yeah.
But what Simon said in terms of a physical construct, it does exist.
Yeah.
That exists. That's a real thing for not only Twitter, IG, also
Facebook especially.
platforms you can think about.
So when people say, "Yo, you can buy followers," you're paying. You're literally paying this company to just pay somebody, and they know
just generate.
They just generate, and then their job for the next like 7 hours is to argue as
somebody,
as Natasha Brown or as Jheanelle Levy, and they just argue. And so when I see people get into Twitter arguments, I'm like, that might not be real. Stop talking to these
You've
bots.
just been incited to just yap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, we can go into your
Last
so
one.
my third film.
Do you have any honorable mentions? Or are you good? No, you're good. I go on through.
Gosh, yeah, I don't want to start through the
Yeah,
mess
go
of
through, go
films
through.
that's in my brain. So my third is Atonement. Very, very different tone. But romance nonetheless. I think I'm biased in that I really, really like Kira. And and I like McAvoy as well.
McAvoy is
I think
really
they're
good in
like
it.
I think they're
McAvoy.
really, really
McAvoy, he really landed that role. He did really.
he did exceptional at that role.
Mhm.
But I like that the story, aside from the love, I like that the story kind of asks you to look at other things while you're looking at love. It asks you to look at perspective, like who is looking at what are they saying about what, you know?
Yeah.
It also asks you, it gives you some historical insight into war.
Right.
So it's doing like a lot of things at the same time. It's looking at family relationships. And at the end of it, even though for me it's a tragic romance.
Yeah,
essentially,
definitely.
it still ends on a very hopeful note.
What I liked about Atonement, especially those war films, those kind of thing. There was a course that I studied once, which is about PTSD. And one of the very ignored factors is PTSD of married woman. So we would talk about the trauma of the soldier, which is real, you understand, but we don't realize that married women had to babysit these traumas. They had to be strong. And first of all, remember that when these men went off to war, they were doing everything for themselves. A lot of them had to pick up their own jobs because yes, the government was going to give bonuses or whatever, but they weren't getting it to feed themselves.
That's how the women workforce rose up.
And yeah, that was like the rise of the like real talk. And we don't realize that it also affects him romantically, like what type of love do they get when that person comes back from war? Yes, we see those videos of soldiers coming back and hugging them and reunited, and they don't understand that they may be mentally and physically and emotionally abused in a situation, and then all of that hopefulness gets hurt. So I think Atonement kind of brings a little bit of that into the film, and the novel itself. The novel is a very well written novel by Ian McEwan, but I really liked Atonement. I
It's a
enjoyed
really good
what
film.
it was as a film,
Mhm.
you know. But yeah, good choice.
Yeah, and you realize one was romantic comedy.
Yeah, you're diverse with
I
it,
was like, but that's how I like movies.
which is good.
I like
Yeah.
watch
Eclectic.
everything. Yeah,
So even in a category, it's diverse.
it's diverse.
My Before I do my last one, I'm going to start some honorable mentions. Love and Basketball was really close to be my third one. It's a movie that I will forever love, especially as a basketball coach. I'm really connected to it.
Bias.
Okay.
Go-
Yeah.
That's fine. It's fine.
I think he was connected to it before.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I remember watching that show.
Yeah.
It's
When I was
good.
younger, and it
When
was
I was younger, and I was very connected to it.
It's a
I
super
mean,
film.
that's what
Black
that's
Love.
two basketball people falling in love with each other. It's really cool. 500 Days of Summer was really close. But my actual choice, and I like 500 Days of Summer because he doesn't choose a girl,
Yeah.
because that girl can suck her mother.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
My gosh, offended my ears, Willie. But
I
continue.
I don't like that girl. But
I like her.
but the one that I actually chose was the Before trilogy, which apparently nobody
I
knows.
have no idea.
But you said you took the time to watch Before Sunset.
Yes, I did.
And what did
He
you
knows
think
it.
about it? You know it.
Yes.
You know the trilogy,
Mhm.
right? So the thing about the trilogy is I love the way it's directed. So for those who don't know, Before trilogy is very long. It's just a draw. Well, not very long, but it's a slow trilogy, and it takes place in what we can consider film real time. So it's all a day. So Before Sunrise is
Just that.
it's just a night, it's in the night, and it's before the sunrise, and the movie ends before sunrise, and it's two people that's getting to know each other and having a conversation with each other and growing to love each other through that conversation. Before Sunset is the guy's a writer. He goes back 9 years later, and because he didn't even see that person after that sunrise, and then he rekindles the relationship with her because he wrote a book. It's about her, and she found him, and he found her, and it ends so nicely. Tell you, what do you thought about it?
It's okay. It's a nice film. It is.
Yeah.
It's a nice film.
Good
But I-
dialogue.
good dialogue. But
Right.
the thing with me and movies, I appreciate the magic in silence. I appreciate the magic in the silent moments. And so because this movie was primarily dialogue, it was not one of my favorites.
And that's fine. And that's fine.
Which is not to say that it wasn't a good movie, right? Because
No,
I
no, no,
watched
that's cool.
I watched it not because I literally like I watched all of it, Simon. You know how sometimes, you know how sometimes you need to watch it and you'll skim through it because you
Yeah.
need to watch it because you need to know
No,
it.
but
I watched the whole
question then. Were you captivated enough by the dialogue to keep you watching it then instead of skimming through it?
You were on your captivated
phone.
enough. Yeah,
Right.
I watched it, man. I was captivated
So
enough.
and then why I think that works and why a lot of people refer to it now. Like while I was looking it up I was looking up, best love stories that just kind of see what people rank. And I saw it pop up a few times and I was surprised because one of my favorites, but I know people don't necessarily like that, is there is a realness to it that people found a strength in, especially as a trilogy, because the last one in the trilogy is Before Midnight and they're married with kids now. And it's just a day. It's just a day in the life.
Jesus, no, my Starfim wife.
Oh, well, at the end of Before Sunset, he misses the flight. That's
I
it.
know. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for the wife.
Well, we don't know what she was like. A joke. We know what he's like.
Oh, God.
In any
Yeah.
case, so I like the realness. I like the rawness. And if you haven't seen it and you're a person that likes dialogue, check it out. But I enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites, and that is that.
It's cute. It's
Okay,
cute and
anybody want
cozy.
to tell any honorable mentions?
And
Yes.
honorable mention.
Of
Go
course.
ahead, Jamar, of
Yes.
course.
Of course,
Yes,
Jabby, what's up?
please. Are we going to act like The Bodyguard wasn't a
Oh
thing?
my goodness!
Are we going to not
Oh
mention
my
The Bodyguard?
Slap you, Simon.
Are we not
Slap
going to
you,
mention
Natasha.
The Bodyguard?
I
Thank
thought we
you.
didn't
I mean,
have
you're
to.
mentioning it.
Thank you.
Are we not going to talk about
Thank
Message in a
you.
Bottle?
Alright, mention
I don't
number
know
one.
that one.
I don't
Are
know
we
so
not
much.
going to talk about same time next year?
I don't
Don't
know
know
that
that
one.
one
Even that
either.
one is old. That's from 1978, but
Sure,
it's
cool.
it's awesome.
Yo, he's so cheesy. There's no denying it. So like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. Jamie is the cheese ball of Chat Bout Flim,
I'm still like,
right? He has almost all the Transformers on Blu-ray.
Notebook, yes.
I'm still like,
Yeah.
I hear what
Notebook too, yeah.
I think I definitely hate Notebook, but I can understand somebody liking it.
Definitely.
No, because them just
Hate
dumb.
is
The
such
two of
a
them just
strong
stupid. It's just two
word.
stupid people in love.
I
Eh?
mean, okay for stupid people
Yeah,
to
no.
need love.
I hear what? No, hold on. I got
Stupid
you.
people need love too.
You know what? The Notebook is one of the greatest girl clown movies of all
Oh
time.
my
Bah!
god.
It is the girl clown mecca. He's such a girl clown, bro.
Being in love, yes. Being in love makes
No,
you a
wait,
girl
but yeah, that's a component of girl clowning. First of all, you can't be a girl clown and not be in love. whoever is a girl clown and not in love is psychotic. Yeah, no, Matthew, let's be honest.
Wait.
I get what you're saying, that maybe it doesn't have to be girl clown in everybody's opinion. That's fine, because I understand the structure of Notebook being a liked movie. You see me? But if we're going to give a factor to being a girl clown, in love is first.
I don't
Definitely up there.
If you're a girl clown and not in love,
I don't think so. I think you.
what do you
can
think
be,
are the girl clown
I
factors?
I think you can be a girl clone and not in love. Because essentially you
like the
can be
worst
in
girl clone.
no, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be totally just infatuated with somebody. You can just love somebody's hair. You can exactly. So it doesn't have to. So it doesn't have to be love. And not love them. And you try like a
But going as
fool.
far as
I just
to
glad
be
none
a
of those
girl
people are my
clown,
friends.
That's exactly because there's no love there.
All right.
Yeah,
Anyways.
that's true.
Wow.
Wow.
That is the biggest
Mm.
problem.
So
You don't
yeah.
love her, you're going like an idiot.
Hold on. Let's break down the whole love thing. Anybody remembers the structure of love?
No.
What?
There's an entire is it a pyramid? Pyramid of
Oh,
love?
somebody came up with an opinion on it.
No. It's something that's published. Officially
Well, yeah,
published.
No, yeah, but it's somebody's
That's about
opinion.
that
It's somebody's
psychology.
opinion.
It's a psychological.
Oh, which is definitely opinion based science.
Continue.
But why?
But
If you remember-
infatuation is a part of being in love.
Of
You can't
course.
be in love and not be infatuated.
It's like in stages, right?
Sure,
It's a
sure.
stages
Exactly,
thing.
because being in love, it encompasses other parts of
Should we rename the podcast to Gal Clown 101?
Oh, stop it.
I mean,
But in any case, I know that these movies are well loved. My problem with the Notebook is it's just a movie of bad decisions of two people who just should not be together.
but bro, the one that y'all don't know
That's
though,
everybody's
same
life,
time
though.
next year.
Facts.
Let me just tell you about it.
Same time
It
next
is
year.
yeah. So it's about this film with this guy and this woman. They're both married, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
To separate
And-
people or to each other?
to separate, people.
people.
And one time, the same time every year,
Oh, Hall Pass.
That's it?
They meet up at Juki Jam.
yes,
Oh,
they
wow.
meet up and then spend a weekend together. They both tell their spouses that they're off on a conference.
Of course.
And it went on for years, like decades. And one year, the man dies,
Rough.
and he didn't meet her.
Oh.
And
Oh, so they don't talk at all.
no,
Otherwise,
they don't.
she shows up, he doesn't show up. She goes nuts. Not literally nuts, but she's heartbroken.
Yeah.
The following year, she goes back.
What's
His
in that
wife
movie?
His wife.
shows
Yeah,
up.
man, I know that. Figure that was gonna
'Cause-
happen.
Him
man
wife,
clown.
his wife eventually find out about
Yeah,
them.
man.
Mhm.
Yum.
And then the
Yum,
wife
Bella.
wants to meet her, and the wife is so sincere. Like, she's like, well, he passed, and I realized that you guys had this thing.
Mm-mm.
And she was less of bitter and more sorry for the other girl, because she realized that they're truly in love.
In love.
She's like, should I hear that? Should I hear that? She come fall in love with her Hall Pass.
But
Yeah, no, that's an interesting premise. I will give you that.
yeah,
That's an
man,
interesting premise.
It
What's it
was
called again?
And it does
Same
challenge,
time next year.
and it does challenge it. It does challenge the theory.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and it's an old film too. So it does challenge the theory of love. So we like
Yeah,
that.
1978 film.
Does it though?
But
Why do you say it challenges the theory of love?
because this person, because the meaning it challenges what is the conventional theory of love. Then that's what I mean. Meaning the conventional of yeah, the one time a year. That's not something normal.
Yeah.
Well,
Does he?
Yeah, him love the two of them.
yeah.
Him love the two of them.
In
Like,
different ways.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm.
Him love him wife, him now leave her.
I mean,
But
we are.
Well,
kids,
that's a-
we
that's
love
a-
our
husband.
people at the same time.
That's an interesting topic, and I think it's something to look. So, guys, look out for that.
Yeah.
But we're here at the end of the episode.
So we're at the end of the episode,
It's
and
done
we're
already?
gonna ask you a question that we ask all our guests.
Oh Jesus!
Which is
Oh, if I had a superpower, what would it be? That's a tough one.
too tough? What was
It's
yours
not too
again?
tough.
To
It's
heal
not-
everybody.
To heal, yeah, heal. Mine is healing.
It's not.
Mine is invisibility.
Mine is mind reading and body control.
A healing one, technically. I like that one.
That's Simon's.
Healing. Well, yeah, you can take it too. You can take it too.
No, but that's not what I was thinking. So I can't swipe it from here. Swiper, no swiping. I won't swipe. But I always do like telekinesis.
Okay.
Nice.
I
Okay.
always like, oh, can I?
If you could just get the remote.
If I could, and also mind reading, because I think if you are able to understand people, what people are really thinking, then you are better able to help them
All right.
and help yourself.
You're so sweet.
You will know when people are putting up a facade. You know, you'll be better informed and make better
Okay.
decisions.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being here.
You are welcome.
We're gonna present you with our gift because we love you.
Love. It's Valentine's
And our gift
Day.
today, we're waiting on the camera to take pictures for photo up. So, is it?
Oh,
is
I
it-
get
is
the
it- is it ready?
basket.
Yeah,
You don't have to be in the shot. yeah. So, our gift today is presented by Saint T Floras, and it is part of their gift box series at Saint T Floras. So please look them up on Instagram. And these are handcrafted boxes, which she gets to keep along with the gift. And what you do is
She
you
doesn't want
you
a
contact
box.
Saint T Floras, and they can make whatever you want. They will add it. So it's called personals, and they make it personalized. And this is our personal Valentine's Day gift for our guest, Natasha
Aw.
Griffiths.
You flatter me.
So everybody,
Thank you.
Chat Bout Flim, follow Natasha, everything. And this is her. Yeah. Thank you, Saint T
Thank
Florals.
you.
So just to kind of close off, do you have anything you want to plug? Any IG page, any website, anything?
Not
Tash
necessarily.
inspires.
Well, my Instagram is Tash_inspires
Mhm.
because I like to think at some point in my life I'll inspire some people to be their best selves. But yeah, that's it. I'm actually waiting on executive producers to send out into the world the last short film I made as part of a competition called. It's funny. It's called Unlikely Love.
Look at that.
So yeah, I did a short a couple months back. Shot it in December, sent it off in January, and so we're just waiting on the exec producers to kind of tell us what their strategy is gonna be and when we can send it into the
Cool.
world.
Is there somewhere where like people can view your work so far?
I have not put into public the shorts I've made
Mhm.
yet, only because there's things I want to still do with them
Okay.
Makes
before,
sense.
and also because I am my worst critic.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. No
Right.
problem, no problem. But people can still look for you on Instagram.
Yeah. So usually when
And
I'm
she's like
working
the
on
next big
something,
thing, right?
I-
Jafta, go tell us. No?
I love working with Jafta. They're an amazing bunch of people. They're an amazing organization, and they're really doing a lot. They're really doing a lot to kind of push the industry here, and I think we're in a pretty amazing time for the local industry.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot going on in film, so that's
Yeah.
really good. And I'm really happy to have you here. All right, so we're going to wrap
Thank
up
you
now.
for having me. Thanks, guys, for making this fun.
For those who are tuned in on the YouTube live, just remember that this podcast will be on Anchor, Spotify, everything. Please follow at Chat Bout Flim on Instagram, Twitter as well. So big up. TikTok, Chat Bout Flim podcast. We don't really put too much there, but we will eventually. As soon do a silhouette challenge.
Wow.
Nobody wants to
Kidding.
Nobody wants to see
Kidding.
Didn't
Will
you
not,
have
will
a
not.
silhouette thing on your
Chill. No, I didn't.
sorry.
No, I didn't.
Shut up.
All right.
Done.
Big up. That's it.
Okay,
Bless.
bye.
I got chocolate. Oh, sorry, I'm done.
It end it?